What if one ordinary morning the sky split open, not with fire, not with judgment, but with a single trembling voice, and that voice said, "I'm sorry, sorry for the floods, sorry for the plagues, sorry for the silence when you begged for answers, sorry for the cries he ignored, the wars he allowed, the innocent lives he didn't save. Sorry for every unanswered prayer, every empty night, every time you wondered if anyone was listening. Sorry for everything." The world would freeze. Traffic would stop. Phones would slip from people's hands. Believers would drop to their knees, sobbing. Skeptics would laugh until they realized it wasn't a prank, it wasn't a dream. And somewhere in the chaos, someone would whisper, almost afraid to speak, "Does this mean he was wrong?" Then, imagine God laying it all out. "I overreacted with Job, the flood. Yeah, that was too far. The whole eternal punishment thing. A mistake. I was angry. I never wanted you to fear me. I never wanted you to hurt each other in my name. Every war you fought for me, every child you sacrificed to my glory, I didn't ask for that." Theology would shatter overnight. Entire religions would collapse under the weight of that confession. Churches would scramble to rewrite doctrine in real time. Some would call it a test. Others would call it blasphemy, even if it came from the sky itself. Pastors might rage. God cannot apologize. But what if he just did? Would faith deepen? Because now we have a God who takes accountability. Or would faith collapse? Because he's no longer the perfect, untouchable being we were told to obey. And what about morality? If God admits he's flawed, then who decides what's right and wrong now? Would we finally have to grow up, take responsibility for our own ethics, instead of outsourcing them to an authority we assumed was perfect? Forgiveness would get messy too. If God needs ours, what do we do with all the times we asked for his? Do we owe him the same mercy we begged him for? Or do we measure him by his own commandments, see if he passes? Think about the arguments that would break out. Families splitting down the middle, some rushing to forgive, others refusing. Governments scrambling to control the panic. Theologians debating whether this was even really God. And the victims, the survivors of centuries of suffering, they might not be ready to forgive so freely. And then comes the hardest question of all. What if we said no? What if humanity decided not to forgive God? What if after centuries of war, genocide, slavery, and suffering in his name, we turned our backs and walked away? Would God get angry again, like the old days? Would he wipe the slate clean and start over? Or would he just sit with the weight of his own guilt? Finally, understanding what it feels like to be human, to regret, to grieve, to live with the pain of your own choices. The sky would stay open, waiting. "I'm sorry," the voice says one last time. But this time it sounds small, almost human, almost afraid. And for the first time in history, God waits for our answer.